Hey, what's up, viewers? Patrick from Brotherhood back with another video, and this is episode 6 of Brotherhood Wake Up Hours Day, and today's verse comes out of Matthew 6, verse 33, and it reads, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." And that's what verse means, and let's get right into it. It's time for our roar and just recap. And we finished up creation, evolution, and intelligent design. And some things from last night. These were from the people that were a part of the book Creation, Evolution, and Intelligent Design. Let's start with Ham. Ham assumed that his reading of Genesis, it amounts to God's eyewitness testimony, which was reported in a simple, straightforward courtroom sense, as though God were testifying in a modern court. This also ignored the ancient context, the human writers, and also Ham's own role as an interpreter. Ham also basically that this interpretation of Genesis must then be the lens or grid through all evidence in the earth as interpreted is going to be so obviously narrow-minded and circular to mostly people that will hurt rather than help faith. That was Ken Ham. Now Hugh Ross. Ross actually falls into Ham's error in that he joins a particular scientific framework to his interpretation of of Scripture. And now we go to Deborah Harzma. Harzma does somewhat better at allowing Scripture and science to occupy different spaces. She's more sensitive to the ancient Near Eastern content in which the Scripture was composed. But she still falls in the trap of trying to force a concord between her scientific information and the biblical account. For example, she basically seems to favor the view that Adam and Eve were not a literal first couple because genetic studies show humans descend from thousands of individuals, so the scientists forced into the biblical account. But if we accept her argument on this point, and if we abandon seeing Adam and Eve as a literal first couple, what do we do if the genetic science conclusions change? As unlikely as it may seem now, what if researchers find more information that suggests that there were 10 or 2 from whom all descend? We would have to revise our interpretation back again, because we have put science in the driver's seat of our interpretation of the Bible. And then we looked at Rob's view. Here's a little bit from that. He suggests that we should allow Scripture and science to speak different languages, or at least at different dialects. Also, is there anything in Scripture that we will find coincides with scientific evidence? Yes, but corresponds should not be forced. Reality does not comprise a single layer, or at least it is the argument of billions of people that their experience does not allow them to see reality as having a single layer, the material or purity, natural cause, effort, chain. To assert that science can explain everything is not a scientific statement. It is a metaphysical conclusion. Now, what is from Genesis 1 verse 11? For the Israelites who first read these chapters, Genesis 1 verse 11 or 1 through 11 basically provides the content for answering the biggest questions like, who's God? What is God like? Who are we? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with us? How's God working to fix things? How would Genesis 1 through 11 help them answer these kinds of questions? And finally, for Christians today, these chapters will answer the same questions. The questions for us is, why should we take these chapters seriously as important for answering these questions? Many folks, both Christians and non-Christians, would say that we should take these chapters seriously only to the degree that they report accurate scientific information. Also, my view, we take them seriously as important for answering the big questions, not because of how they correspond with science, and not simply because they are in the Bible, but because faith in the crucified and risen Jesus inevitably leads us back to these early chapters to discover how Jesus is answering those big questions, like from earlier. Who are we? What's wrong with us? And what is God doing to fix the problem? And these were actually really interesting. And the verse to leave you with today is Colossians 3:12, and it says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." That's going to do it for the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time we meet again, viewers, in every way, God's way is always the best way.